Good afternoon, I'm Riza Diaz and this is One News Now. President Bongbong Marcos is skipping the climate change conference in Dubai. This is so he can personally address the hostage situation involving Filipino seafarers in the Red Sea. The chief executive plans to dispatch a team to Tehran to jumpstart negotiations. Iran is a known supporter of the Yemeni Houthis that hijacked MV Galaxy leader on November 19. For now, President Marcos has tasked Environment Secretary Tony Yulo Loizaga to lead the Philippine delegation to COP28. Now, among the priorities of the Dubai conference is the establishment of a framework for the Loss and Damage Fund. Now, this fund will help developing countries like the Philippines that usually cannot afford to cover losses brought by calamities.
This is beyond the capacity of countries, and therefore developed countries and other sources, such as private sources perhaps, will be called upon to put their contributions into the Loss and Damage Fund. It's extremely important that this become operationalized soonest and that we are able to access it in a timely and locally driven fashion.
Now here's an update on the hostage Pinoy seafarers that has the president concerned. The Foreign Affairs Department said the captives remain in good condition. In a statement, DFA spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza cited government sources. She said that the seamen will eventually be released. The hijacked ship is believed to be docked near a busy Yemeni port and has 25 crew members, including 17 Pinoys. Now, in other news, the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-ELCAC, says there will be no holiday ceasefire with the New People's Army. That's despite the recent signing of a preliminary agreement to resume peace talks between the government and the National Democratic Front, or NDF. National Security Advisor Ed Año is not recommending a truce, claiming that the communists carry out anti-government operation even during the holidays. With this, Año said state forces will be ready for any attacks. For their part, NDF Philippines remains non-committal when it comes to a holiday ceasefire. December 26, or the day after Christmas, is the founding anniversary of the Communist Party of the Philippines and NPA.
Wala pa, kailangan pa yan na pag-usapan ng magkabilang panig pagkatapos tignan kung ano ang pwedeng maganap para sa kabutihan ng sambayanan. So, pakinggan din kung ano yung kagustuhan ng sambayanan mo.
Time to take a quick break. One News Now. We'll be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Two House panels have adopted resolutions urging the government to cooperate with the International Criminal Court. The ICC is investigating the drug war of former President Rodrigo Duterte. The House Committees on Human Rights and Justice deliberated for more than 4 hours on Wednesday. That's over 3 resolutions separately filed last month in support of the ICC probe. Grilled during that discussion was Solicitor General and former Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara. He insisted that the Philippines cannot be compelled to cooperate with the ICC.
You can investigate in whatever way you want. You can talk to any person you want. You can interview any witness you want. It's up to you. Ang sinasabi lang po natin dito, but do not expect cooperation from the Philippine government. Yun lamang po. Hindi naman po natin sinusuway yung decision ng Appeals Chamber. Hindi po natin pinagbabawalan ang ICC prosecutor to proceed.
Representative Edsel Lagman is as adamant. He argued that the Philippines does have a legal obligation to cooperate in the drug war investigation based on the Rome Statute. Now, meanwhile, Human Rights Committee Chair Congressman Benny Abante explains why they backed the resolutions.
This resolution is about principles, not personalities. Now, I believe that the criminal justice is working in the Philippines. But sinasabi ko nga dito, our cooperation with the ICC reflects our willingness to be transparent and responsible on the world stage, because what the world sees now is what the ICC tells them.
Moving on, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources explains why 2 Pasay City reclamation projects have been allowed to resume. DENR Secretary Tony Yuloizaga said that these ventures already complied with the requirements of the agency. However, she clarified that only the Philippine Reclamation Authority can lift the suspension status of the said projects. The DENR is only in charge of assessment and evaluation. The reclamations recently permitted to go on are for the 265-hectare in Harbor City and the 360-hectare Pasay project.
There were several technical conferences called because there were some findings and observations. And after they complied with what was required, documentation-wise, and then review-wise as well, overall, the DNR actually submitted a report, and they had in fact substantially complied.
At this point, we now give you a quick look at today's other top stories. A ceremony for Bonifacio Day was held in Monumento this morning, which briefly caused traffic. Present in the event were Caloocan Mayor Along Malapitan and Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. Over at the Bantayog ng mga Bayani, former Vice President Leni Robredo was the guest speaker in the annual honors for the country's fallen martyrs and heroes. Today is not a holiday after Malacanang moved Bonifacio Day commemoration to November 27 this year. Today is National Bike Day to Work Day, as declared by President Bongbong Marcos. Proclamation number 409 puts down November 30 of every year as a special day to promote cycling as a viable transportation mode. The proclamation also aims to encourage active commuting across the Philippines. And the Health Department has logged an uptick in the cases of pneumonia in the country. Nearly 160,000 cases were reported from January to October this year. That's 45% higher than the 108,000 cases during the same period in 2022. Meanwhile, the New York Times has revealed its 10 best books of 2023, and making the selection is one Filipina's novel. Patricia Evangelista's Some People Need Killing talks about the drug war of former President Rodrigo Duterte. The New York Times noted that time was when we quote, the killings become so frequent that journalists like Evangelista kept track not by date but by hour of death. One News Now will be back at 3:15 in the afternoon. Join us again later. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.